Beginning of this year, I made a video talking about Pkrussl and one of the many controversies he got himself into. Since then, I threw around the idea of making a full-length video, taking a look at his content as a whole. After all, he was a major influence in some of my videos. So here that video is, after several months of researching. As the title says, we're going to be taking a look at Pkrussl and the gradual decline of his content. Since I'm going to be talking about another individual, I feel like it's suited for me to also have a spoken disclaimer. Please do not harass or go after Pkrussl or anybody else mentioned in this video. This video's purpose is not meant to harass or hurt any of the parties involved, or I just critique them and their actions. Any hate or witch hunting will not be tolerated. Also, a lot of things I'm going to be talking about are subjective. It's fine if you disagree. With that out of the way, this is going to be a longer video, so sit back, grab a snack, and let's talk about Pkrussl. Some of you might have already heard about the quite infamous Pkrussl since he's a common subject in this community, but if you randomly stumbled upon this video and have no idea whom I'm talking about, let me give you a brief introduction. Pkrussl, also known as Pkrussl, is a commentary channel with over 200,000 subscribers. His channel became notable a few years ago for his cringe series where he covers different fandoms and the quote cringe content within them. Later on, he would move his focus onto the animation community with his video talking about animation memes, then later spawning another popular series on his channel called Animation Meme Review. Now, since you have a basic rundown of PK and his channel, let's talk about his content. A lot of people don't like Pkrussl's content because it revolves around the whole mentality of cringe culture. Cringe culture can be summarized as shaming others for doing and or liking something that's deemed cringy. It's a concept that a lot of people argued is fueled by hatred. This category of content was really popular during 2015 to early 2018 in a lot of communities, with people making cringe compilations and rants. During this time, Pkrussl made some of his most popular videos using the concept of cringe culture. The thing is that we're in 2020 now. This type of content has died out in favor for more constructive content. The issue is that Pkrussl's videos haven't changed and it's not aging well. So let's talk about one of his popular series and how this mindset is crippling his content. Back in 2018, Pkrussl started doing this series called Animation Meme Review, a parody of PewDiePie's Meme Review. Usually he finds animation memes or has animators send their own animations in, and from there he reviews them. From my understanding, he has some sort of ranking system. Based on this, he ranks them on various things, including art and animation, meme, and entertainment value. I feel like the concept of the series is potentially great. Offering criticism to artists and or animators is crucial for them to develop important skills, especially if they want to pursue a job in the animation field. But how he executes it is just not beneficial to him. The major complaint that people voice about the series is PK is too harsh when it comes to his criticism. He seems to dismiss his critics by claiming that it's hate when a lot of people do have a point. Technically, you can call these videos glorified cringe compilations and get away with it because they're on the same level of quality. This type of content is lazy and pretty much useless to the animator. AMR is maybe a partial step up from this if I'm being generous. PK follows the same formula as a cringe comp, just live action. When it comes to his criticism, it feels like it's almost unfinished. He points out what's wrong but doesn't seem to elaborate on what the animator can fix. Like we said previously, a lot of people believe that he harasses and or bullies aspiring animators in these videos. I feel like if he elaborates more on what to change, it wouldn't appear that way. Another argument that is brought up constantly is Pkrussl doesn't understand the fundamentals of art to provide criticism. I hear the phrase "you don't need to be a professional chef to critique food" thrown around a lot when this point gets brought up. Well, I don't think you need to be a professional to find valid feedback. It's always better to have some background experience to make sure you're providing a constructive critique. If you're an artist, you can most likely provide more constructive criticism using skills and techniques that you learned while drawing. I should at least mention this video since we're on the topic, and I didn't get to mention it last time in my other PK video. There was a pretty big controversy that happened several months ago that spawned because of the series. It was a video called "Do You Actually Need to Credit the Original Animation Meme?" Well, I don't think we have enough time to look at every single point in the video. Some of those points are worth bringing up. To summarize the video, he claims that you don't need to credit the original animation meme. Throughout the video, he brings up a lot of comparisons that were considered a little more than a stretch. Like comparing crediting the animator to crediting the whole team behind Minecraft because he posted a picture from the game. I could potentially see where PK is coming from. Why should you credit someone just because you use the same song and animation meme? I believe it comes down to how different the animations are. If the animator is using the same cut of music and movements, then I would credit. But if it's entirely different, not so much. Honestly though, I believe that it just boils down to the fact that just credit out of common courtesy. It's honestly not that hard to copy and paste the animator's name in your video or the description. Unfortunately, we have to mention PK's notorious Has-Been Hotel video. A few months ago, the much anticipated pilot for VisiPop's Has-Been Hotel released. It was special because it wasn't made by a massive animation studio, rather just a group's passion project. A lot of different videos, mainly reviews, came out because a lot of people were interested in seeing how this could potentially work out for the future of animation. So, it was to be expected for our good old pal PK to make a review that caused a lot of controversy. Knowing how PK is in most of his videos, it was already kind of expected for this to be a more highly critical review. I don't want to spend my time looking at his review, dissecting it, and doing things like that, because many people have done that before, and I feel like I'm just being a dead horse at that point. I personally want to look at his response to all the backlash he got from his review because it makes a good example of how not to take criticism. If you couldn't tell by all the foreshadowing, this review caused a lot of drama. PK blamed the fact that the video garnered more hate because it was in a more negative light compared to other reviews. I mean, sure, if you're going to be shitting on something that has a large fan base, you're bound to get some hate whether it's justified or not. I'm sure that I'm gonna get some hate from this video. I think it wasn't constructed well enough to be called a review, and that's where most of the complaints came from. Most of his points were faulty to the point where he was hypocritical of some of them himself, mainly the humor. We talked about before that he tends to point out what's wrong, but doesn't need to elaborate on what he would do to fix it and or improve it. That was the major issue in regards of his review. A lot of commentary channels and viewers alike made responses talking about this drama and critiquing it and stating some fairly good claims to counter PK's. The issue is how PK responded. The common consensus is that Pkrussl cannot take criticism. While I do feel like that's the case sometimes, he has shown in the past that he can take it if he wants to. When this whole situation happened and the criticism started rolling in, PK made a response video claiming that everybody needed to grow up and that the commentary community was just being petty. He complained that he was moving on and how people were still bringing up the situation even though it was only a few days old at the time. This was a pretty bad response if you could tell. I'm sure that there were people who took the situation too far and caused unnecessary drama, but a lot of YouTubers brought some fairly valid criticisms to the table. Blocking out these claims and calling them immature just makes it look like you're butthurt and can't take criticism. You don't necessarily need to even accept the critiques and implement them into your content, even though I highly recommend it. You just need to see from their perspective. If you have counterclaims, then you can go and explain them. Come on, PK, you should know this by now for being a reviewer for so long. As someone who was in a controversy a little while ago, you're still going to get a fuck ton of comments still talking about the stuff that happened. I mean, the drama that I was in is almost 2 years old now, and I still get comments even though I apologized. It's just going to be something that happens, especially because there was no direct response to your criticism that he got. Honestly, the best situation is to address your faults and move on from the situation if it bugs you that much. One of the people who made a video criticizing PK during the Has-Been Hotel and the animation meme review drama was the name is Junkie. PK ended up making a response video and there was a lot of back and forth. Somebody recently pointed out on Twitter that his next video, called "The Gacha Life Community Still Scares Me," has tags with Junkie's name, referring to that drama. I kind of find it weird for someone who says that they hate being involved in drama to bring up previous drama like that. Something that added fuel to this raging garbage fire was the fact that PK received a copyright claim after he posted his review. He quickly took to Twitter going after VizzyPop, claiming that she was stealing his money and it was all just because it was a negative review. I don't think this was a good idea to start with. First, I would dispute the claim or try contacting the person involved privately. Making something like this public can provoke the mentality of witch hunting over a personal matter. This whole issue was a misunderstanding due to Vizzy's network claiming the video automatically. When it was shown to PK, he still went after Vizzy for not responding and blocking him, even though I'm sure it wasn't her major concern right at that moment. Thankfully, PK realized his faults and backed down from the situation. Similar situations to an extent happened before, where PK claimed that he was under attack due to something he said or did. I feel like this is when he rushes to judgment way too quickly and is causing situations to get worse than they really need to be. PK's production quality is overall mediocre. He has nice equipment that ups the quality of the video, it's just the content inside doesn't hold up as well. His content style is fairly basic. There's no real substance to it for various different reasons. In the past, Pkrussl missed not using scripts for his videos because it doesn't make him feel authentic enough to his viewers. This can be fine in some cases if you're making short videos or maybe something related to a more personal topic, but scripts are important for several different reasons, especially with the videos that he tends to make. Scripts help you organize your thoughts so you're not all over the place. This limits a lot of things like getting off topic so you can make clear meshes in your videos and so you don't confuse your viewers or even yourself at sometimes. While scripts aren't technically crucial to the video process, they help you out immensely. You don't necessarily even need to be restrained to a script either. Having something like a bullet list of points would make it better than just free winging it. Editing is another thing that affects the quality of your content immensely. From what I know, he had people edit for him in the past, which shows in his content. Since the majority of his videos don't have a script, a lot of things in his videos can be abbreviated or cut down from any awkward wording and repetition, which I notice a lot in his videos. A lot of the time, his videos give off the appearance that they were rushed and not a lot of passion was put into them, to the point where it just looks like he's uploading just to upload and make money. I would personally have a more lenient uploading schedule so you don't have to feel forced to rush things, because that's been proven faulty for him in the past. Another thing I noticed is the overall appearance of his channel. To be honest, it looks like a huge fucking shitpost, rather than someone with over 200,000 subscribers. To me, this brings up the point again of not caring enough about the content that you choose to make. Honestly, I can't take you that seriously when you make a so-called serious review, then you post this on the same channel. I always kind of notice that PK stays safe when it comes to his content. He doesn't necessarily try something new as much as I believe he should as a content creator of his size. He's been sticking to the whole animation meme review and his cringe series for a while, and as we discussed before, it's starting to age really fast. He has attempted in the past to change up his content, which I feel like is great. Adds more variety to your content, but still keeping the same tones and themes in your videos. I would love to see him step outside his comfort zone and explore more with his content. Beginning of this year, Pkrussl posted a picture of his, I don't know how to phrase this, I guess his behind to Twitter as a parent there that happened on his Discord server. As you could imagine, this caused a lot of drama because it was everywhere. People argued that this was completely inappropriate and that kids watch his videos and so on, while others argued that he can't control who his audience is. Pkrussl, in regards to posting more mature content lately, also came out previously with his analytics showing that most of the people who watch his content are in fact over the age of 18. I believe that these are both weak arguments now. It's true. As a content creator, you have no control who watches your content, but you have control of what content you choose to produce. The issue is with Pkrussl is that he might produce content that features more mature themes, but the topics that he covers are related to things that have a massive young audience. Things like gacha life and animation memes. You're bound to have some younger viewers seeing your content and engaging with your social media. I don't feel like it's right having to restrict your content. That's not what YouTube is about. But if you're making a video on not safe for work in the Cuphead fandom, which has an age rating of 10+, either warn people ahead of time with a disclaimer or age restrict the video. Going back on Pkrussl's analytics, it's not a reliable source for various reasons. Kids constantly lie about their ages or use an adult's account. These analytics also don't take into account the kids who don't have YouTube accounts, even though that might be a small majority. I feel like a lot of the backlash from this picture could have been prevented if PK had slightly better judgment. The original picture was posted on Twitter, and from my understanding, Twitter offers a feature to mark your account as having mature themes, which pretty much sums it up into turning it into an 18+ account. Since, according to Pkrussl, most of his fans are in fact over the age of 18, he shouldn't have any issue with this option if he wants to continue posting shit like this. Also, maybe do the best to monitor who follows you and interacts with your content, because from what I know, in the past, you had minors following you on your social media. From my understanding, anyone could have seen this picture whether they wanted to or not, because it wasn't marked. I don't follow Pkrussl, and I saw it through retweets and reposts. A lot of his fans were blaming minors for seeing the image, which is crazy because, like I said previously, this shit was popping up everywhere without people's consent. This whole situation caused him to lose a lot of his fans. A solution is simply keeping the joke on Discord and a private chat, because honestly, this was a great start to my already traumatic 2020. At the time I'm recording this, I recently found out that apparently PK is implementing a new rule on his Discord server to make it only for adults. I'm glad that Pkrussl is taking some action on this matter. Hopefully it goes the same for his other social medias. Humor is a really hard thing to talk about because what you find funny is subjective. So you might need to take this section with a grain of salt based on your personal preferences. PK's humor falls under a category of satire. Humor that is very sarcastic and tends to cover more edgier themes. It's a very popular form of comedy here on YouTube, and it's really hard to make funny without sounding cringy. PK tends to utilize this type of comedy a lot in his videos, and it doesn't seem to work out as well. A lot of humor in his videos are very juvenile and in your face, so stuff that revolves around sexual themes like body fluids and body parts. This is the same shit he complained about in his Has Been Hotel review if you haven't noticed. I originally thought it was him being ironic since he tends to make fun of stupid tropes like that, but there's no clear indication of it. Over the past few years, it's starting to become repetitive and old to the point where it's borderline painful to watch some of his videos. I've even talked to former fans, and they believe that it's starting to become creepy at this point. You don't need to rely on this stuff to be funny. Take your time to make your jokes. It will switch up his content and most likely improve the quality of it greatly. Recently, a lot of you may have heard about a situation that happened on Pkrussl's Discord server. One of his adult moderators was allegedly in a relationship with a minor and was doing some quite questionable things. A lot of accusations came out claiming that Pkrussl is defending a pedophile or Pkrussl himself is a pedophile. I'm not going in depth on the situation as much as I want to, because at the time of recording this, not a lot of proof has came out to make a proper case. I'm not entirely sure if more screenshots and proof will come out, so for right now, it's best to take a neutral stance on this matter. I believe that this situation wasn't handled properly by any party involved, including commentators and Pkrussl alike. Dealing with a huge claim of pedophilia is hard, especially on the internet, because a good majority of the time, the evidence is focused around screenshots, and that's up to personal depiction. Like I talked about before in several instances, screenshots can also be faked or cropped. I mean, look at some of the situations that we had happen before in this community. I believe a lot of commentators ran into the situation a little too quickly, like a lot of them tend to do, no matter what their intentions were. I feel personally, if you're dealing with something that is breaking the law, you need a lot of time and a lot of evidence before developing a case and making a video. Remember, you're accusing someone of a crime that can fuck up their lives forever. I understand a lot of people took this seriously to spread awareness of a really bad situation because we had instances before with pedophiles in this community. I do feel like a lot of the videos that were talking about the situation were going after Pkrussl rather than the suspected pedophile. We need to understand that yes, this happened to the server and he should be held accountable to some extent, but he isn't the big issue here. How PK represented himself in the situation wasn't the best at all. He was very aggressive about the matter and seemed to be pointing fingers at everybody else. Looking at the situation and the responses that came out, PK took this as people trying to prosecute him. Like I said, I do feel like part of the blame was forced on Pkrussl. Whether that's reasonable or not, who knows. But honestly, I don't feel like PK needed to make so many responses in the first place. It was very clear that he didn't have a part in the main situation. You don't need to respond because it's just more for people to pick at. Right now, you're just digging a hole for yourself. I personally wish that he just took the situation a little more seriously. You may have also noticed that I didn't cover one of the major controversies that Pkrussl was in, referring to Kamvas allegations. Personally, right now, I don't feel comfortable into looking claims that serious when I couldn't find a lot of cut and dry evidence. We talked about before in the previous segment, I don't want to potentially ruin someone's life when I'm personally unsure about the proof. Till then, this might need to be a topic that we talk about in the future. Also, there's a high possibility that there's more shit that happened that I didn't get to talk about because I'm aware of it. So what are my final thoughts on Pkrussl? I don't believe that he is that bad. I've seen people compare him to the likes of Huion and other controversial figures when that's a whole nother ballpark. But as time progresses, that opinion might change with the gradual decline that his channel is currently going in. Pkrussl very well has the potential to become a great YouTuber. I mean, some of his content from the past reflects on it. Right now, you can see that there's little to no effort being put in and it's crippling his content so much that he's losing his fans over it. He needs to take a step back and listen to the advice that people are giving him and really reevaluate his content. So let me know in the comments below what are your personal thoughts on Pkrussl and his content. Or let me know if I missed anything that you would like to hear my opinion about. Anyways, that's all for this video and goodbye.